Hello. Welcome everyone to episode number 10 of the Nutrient Health Project podcast. My name is Andrew Frisch. This to my left is my
wife, Holly Frisch.
So today, like I said, episode number 10, and we are going to tell you about the one candy bar a day diet. And I'm actually going to turn this over to Holly right away and let her lead us off in this episode. So tell us a little bit about the setup here for the one candy bar a day diet, Holly.
So, this past weekend we went to Atlanta. My uncle had stage 4 cancer, and he got COVID, and it obviously got him back in February. It was just too much for his body, and so he passed away. My aunt, with COVID in general, and just my aunt not being able to fully deal with it, we did not have a funeral with him right then. We just went this weekend to have the funeral. All of our family was able to get together this weekend for Labor Day weekend, and so we went to Atlanta to have that time.
Which, if I can interject there just real quickly, because I don't want to miss this opportunity, and I don't want to make you emotional on the podcast, but so your Uncle Albert, just in his honor, I only met him 2 times, in ever. One time was here at your parents' former house, and then one time was when we were on vacation last year. We went to Destin in July of 2020. I got to meet him there, and he was one of those people who, if you've ever had an individual that you meet, and just from the very first time you meet them, you just know that they're an awesome person. He was not big in stature, but everybody called him Big Al. So, he was one of those people who lived a larger than life, personality. I mean, he was like your dad told the story of him. He called him for Thanksgiving, and he was like, "Yeah, you cooking a turkey?" He's like, "I'm cooking 4," and he was cooking 4 turkeys, one for his family. He was cooking a couple for the neighbors. He's gonna go take them a turkey. Yeah. He was always the life of the party, but just one of those guys that you could tell lived life full out. Everybody that knew him loved him, and just a great individual. So I don't, rest in peace, Uncle Albert. Yeah, I couldn't let that go.
Right. No, I appreciate you saying that. So that's why we were in Atlanta, seeing family and everything. And then we went out to breakfast with my parents the day we were coming home. And one thing, obviously, we talk about health. I think my parents bring that up because of us and our lifestyle.
Something to talk about with
right. us. But one thing my mom mentioned is that one thing she greatly appreciates about Andy and how he helps people is that he's not someone who's going to beat you down for not sticking to the diet or not meeting your goals. A lot of people that he works with have their own self-flagellation. I didn't do this, and I'm a horrible person because I didn't do that. And Andy's not one to beat you down for that. He just talks about, well, what can we do to get you forward? Or, well, you did this instead of doing just this. He encourages you, and he meets you where you are. And that is so true with Andy, with every single one of his clients. Any calls that I'm around and I hear him on, he's definitely one to pump you up and feel better. And, he was talking to my mom about my mom. She talks about, I probably shouldn't have 2 candy bars a day. And Andy's like, you should probably just have, just 1 candy bar a day. That would be putting one foot in front of the other. That would be doing a little bit better than what you're doing now. And that's the main point, is you don't have to do this big, huge effort to reach your goals. It's just the small, consistent things that you can do each day that are going to get you to where you want to be. They're going to better yourself a little bit each day. And so that's kind of where the title came from, is instead of, 2 candy bars a day, maybe just 1 candy bar a day. And I think most people can live with that,
Yeah. Well, and so a couple points to touch on there. That's where the crux of this episode is coming down to is, no, there's probably not an ideal diet where you are eating a candy bar every single day, right? Unless you're a top level CrossFit athlete burning thousands of calories every day. But when we were talking about it, and her mom pointed that out as far as me not beating people down. I think it's because I've in the 11 or 12 years I've been doing this, I've noticed that everybody else is pretty good about beating themselves down already. And there are some trainers out there who are more kind of like the drill sergeant, like boot camp, kind of get in your face, yell. I've never been that type. I'll push somebody for damn sure, and I'll have an evil grin on my face when I'm coming up with the workouts and stuff. But it really comes down to, like, we all beat ourselves up too much, and when you beat yourself up, you start kind of feeling down, or you're really hard on yourself. You want to give yourself a break, and then you end up kind of going back to like playing the game that we talked about on episode 9, and you're always going to lose that game, right? So one of the things I really try to do when I'm working with clients is, a lot of people, even so, like I have a client right now who she's never really used an app to track her food, which is fine. I mean, that's happened in the past, right? So I was like, just write things down. So she writes things down that she eats, she takes pictures, sends it to me. And on the notepad where she was writing down her food for the day, like, she's making notes of like, this was a horrible day, this was a disaster. And I've even had people, so we use an app called Chronometer. You can add notes in Chronometer, and just whatever. You can add a picture of something, or you could add thoughts to it, or whatever it might be. And I've even had clients go so far as to like take the time to punch in a note on Chronometer and talk about like how horrible they were. Just this day was a catastrophe, and oh my God, this went wrong, and then this went wrong, so that's why I went off course. And just, everybody is so good at beating themselves up and telling them how bad they are. Mm-hmm. So one of the big things I try to get across to people is like, there should be no morality in your diet. And what I mean by that, no morality in your diet, meaning like, yes, there are foods that are probably better for your health, better for the goals that you have. And there are probably foods that are not, very good for your health, but that doesn't mean that you are inherently a good person or a bad person. That doesn't mean that you screwed up. You totally ruined the whole day because you had a candy bar, right? Or in her mom's case, 2 candy bars. And that, I mean, we even, like, when we were talking about it, she said something about like, I know I shouldn't have a candy bar as often as I do. And I started to say like, well, so if you're having them a couple times a week, go down to just like once or twice a week. And she's like, yeah, 2 times a day. I was like, okay, so then like 1 candy bar a day, right? And that would be that small, like Holly said, kind of one foot in front of the other. You're looking for small incremental steps to improve, right? Because the thing that separates somebody that is very healthy and is in shape, or at least making a lot more progress, than the person who is not very healthy and not making progress, it's just the habits, the small little daily things that they've stacked together, right? Mm-hmm. That's if we sit here and break down like what our daily routine is, get up at 3 a.m, take our vitamins and minerals and drink water, sit down and journal, read books, right? Read nonfiction books, go for a walk, work out for an hour and a half, take a cold shower, get some good healthy food. I mean, that's all like the first 3 hours of the day, right? And then it's like, okay, she goes off to work and I'm here doing work. I'm training clients. We're doing phone calls. We go through that whole day. We're eating healthy foods that we've pre-packed. We come home. We stretch on a pretty frequent basis. We go to bed on time. We read when we're going to bed, right? We'll meditate throughout the day. All of these things were like things that we started incorporating one at a time. It wasn't like, 3 years ago, we were just sitting on a couch, like, face stuffed full of bonbons, like, drooling ice cream off of ourselves and saying like, tomorrow let's make a change. And like, just completely like did a 180, right? It's like one thing at a time. Like growing up in like high school and even in college, like my freshman year of college, I started with 18 credit hours. By the end of my freshman semester, I was down to 3 credit hours. 6. I only passed 3 credits. I dropped the other 12 credits, right? So the other, whatever, 3 or 4 classes that was, I dropped all of them because they were, if anything was before like 10 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't going to make it. Right. So I've never been a morning person until just the last couple of years. And it was out of necessity. And even now, why do we get up at 3 a.m? I don't want to get up at 3 a.m. We've talked about in the future, if her job situation changes a little bit and we're able to sleep in a little bit more, it's like, well, let's get up at 4 or maybe 5, right?
Right.
That would be a much more natural thing. The days that we can like actually sleep in a little bit, if we get up at 5:30 or something, I feel way better than I do if I get up at 3. I know that's not optimal, but we do it because we want to get those things in, right? But it's, again, those things have slowly been stacked and added. It wasn't this overnight 180 complete change, right? So like I started journaling for a specific reason. I started meditation for a specific reason. I take the cold showers for a specific reason. All of these things are for a specific reason. So if you're in a situation where you want to change something, what I would say is like, let go of the morality. Stop thinking it's a good or bad thing, right? Look at it more in terms of like do and try. And if you're not familiar with what I'm saying as far as like try being a bad thing, go back to, I think it was episode number 4 where try is a 4-letter word, and go back and listen to that episode. It's a solo cast. Unfortunately, it's just me. I don't have her beautiful self next to me, so the video may not be as enjoyable. But I talk about why trying is a problem and doing is what you need to focus on doing. So, and that might kind of make sense on the surface level, but I think it's beneficial to dig a little deeper into that. So if you are doing something that you want to change, what I would say is like, look at the habits that you're doing right now. What are things that you want to change, right? Maybe it's your food. Maybe you want to eat a little bit healthier. Maybe you want to stop eating so much sugar. Maybe you want to eat more vegetables because you know that they're good for you. Maybe you want to be more physically active, right? And what I would say is like, whatever, make a list of those habits and then make the smallest possible change to that habit that you know you can do, right? You're looking for something where if it's a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like there's no way in hell I could do that, and 10 being like oh for sure I got that all day long, you're looking for like a 9 or a 10. If something is even a 6 or a 7, simplify it more, right? So it's like with her mom, again, as this example, which Sharon, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry that we're using you as an example, but with her mom, if it's like, okay, you literally are having a candy bar for breakfast and lunch, and I say, well, how about a candy bar every, Wednesday and Friday? And she's like, no way. I want candy bars way more often than that. It's like, all right, well, what about the one candy bar every single day? And, sure, I could do that, right? And so work with that, like scale things down. And again, with those examples, if you want to add more vegetables into your diet, you don't have to become a vegan overnight. Just add start with frozen vegetables that are like seasoned and flavored and like barely even taste like broccoli, right? Or Brussels sprouts. They taste like something really good. Just whatever a small little incremental thing that you can do is, write that down and then do. Don't try, do it. Implement it.
Well, I think it was in Atomic Habits. There was a situation there that we read about that, like, this guy was just trying to start working out. And so he started by just driving to the gym.
Yep.
And
just
then
going to the parking lot.
Yeah, just going to the parking lot. And then going right back home. Or, like, and he did that for a little while. And then he drove to the gym and then went in the building. And then he turned around and left. And he did that for a little while. And then he eventually was there and he's like, well, I might as well try and work out. So he worked out for like 5 minutes. And then he built up from there. And it's just like that small little bit got him to where he's not only coming to the gym, but he's in the gym. He's working out for like 45 minutes to an hour. And it's just like, that seems ridiculous to us, but it was a small enough step to get him to where he wanted to.
Yep.
So that's the main point. Just take little baby steps to get you where you want to be.
And for whatever is comfortable for you, right? If I wanted to start working out and somebody told me just go to the parking lot and then go home, I'm gonna be like, I'll go into the gym. Like I'm cool working out for a little bit. I just don't know what to do, right? Like, so, and if that was a situation for me, then I would say like, well, let me find a program, let me find an app, right? I mean, there's enough free information. Again, information isn't the problem, but there's enough free information out there as far as like what to do for a workout. But again, if you're thinking like just drive to the parking lot and go home, then bring it up a notch, right? Because in that case, like that would be an 11 out of 10 for you. You'd be like, well, I could definitely go to the parking lot every day. So it's like, okay, go to the parking lot, go in the gym, and get on a treadmill for 5 minutes. If that's like I don't know about that treadmill for 5 minutes bit, like, okay, just go to the gym, walk inside, say hi to somebody, and then go back home, right? Whatever it is, at least you're getting in that environment, and eventually you just keep that up. You're going to be like, well, hell, let me go do this thing for a little bit, right? Or even talk to a trainer and have somebody help you out. Have and if you're not comfortable with going to a gym, right? I happen to know a fantastic couple that train out of their home. That that there's no gym intimidation on the Planet Fitness side of things. There's no gym intimidation. There's no judgment here. It's one-on-one, like, specialized training. So reach out to us if you want to do that. But you're just looking for the simplest, smallest step that seems like it's almost too easy. And your brain is going to tell you it needs to be harder. Like, that's not enough. Because there's just something exciting, right? Like, a good example I heard on another podcast I was listening to earlier today was like, if I tell you, hey, tomorrow I want you to fast for 24 hours. I don't want you to eat a single thing for the whole day. If you've not fasted, like, one of two reactions is going to happen. It's either going to be like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Or it's like, fasting for 24 hours. Right? Like, it's intriguing. You think, like, that's a hell of a challenge. I might be trying that. And then in actuality, you start doing it, and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, the whole day, like, you're starving and, like, ready to eat your couch because you're just dying. So, like, again, it doesn't need to be this monumental thing. Even though your brain wants things to be more difficult, that's where a lot of people mess up. And that's where it comes down to that thing that I've talked about in a couple different episodes, where people say, I know what to do, I just don't do it. And I would say they know what the end goal should be, but they don't do it because they don't understand. Like, in essence, they know what the staircase is, but they don't know what the first step is. It's like, just figure out what the first step is. Stop looking at the whole damn staircase. Your dad has lost like over 20 pounds. And do you remember what he said, like, the one thing that made the biggest impact was? Because it stuck with me when he said it.
Soft drinks.
Yep.
He stopped drinking soft drinks.
He cut out liquid sugar.
Yeah.
And that, if I'm working with someone, again, one of my clients right now, I think it was earlier in this episode, it might have been the last episode that we recorded, because we recorded groups of episodes at once, so they kind of blend together in my brain. But I have a client who is just journaling. She's just writing things down instead of using an app, right? So, and in that, her food is actually pretty good, but my eyes go to the very first thing that she has for breakfast right now is just like chocolate almond milk. And that's her breakfast. That's it. There's no other foods with it. It's just chocolate almond milk. So my number one priority for her was, let's get something instead of that. So what did we do? I had her order some protein, and I think she ended up getting salted caramel, chocolate, and mocha flavored proteins. So she's going to use those, right? Yeah, Holly's all about the salted caramel and mocha. But, like, so that way she's getting liquid protein instead of liquid sugar first thing in the morning. Because a lot of times with clients that I've worked with in the past, when they're trying to lose weight, if they have liquid sugar, that will be the first thing I try to get out of there. Because that liquid sugar is a guaranteed, like, high-speed bullet train to weight gain, to inflammation, to appetites and hungers that are just up and down, up and down, up and down all day long. So, but that was that small change that, he made that was manageable, and he's lost like over 20 pounds now, right? He's feeling better and everything. So,
and another thing he said is just like, he's still eating the things he wants to eat, but he's eating smaller portions.
Yep.
And he, like you said, the dropping the sodas, eating smaller portions. He's lost 23 pounds, I think.
Yep.
So he's doing good.
And do you know how long he's done that with?
I feel like it's just been a few months.
That's what, I was gonna say, like 6 to 7 weeks or something like that. It might be longer than that, but still, I mean, 20 pounds down is 20 pounds down, right? How many people listening to this right now want to lose 20 pounds?
Yeah.
So, and again, it's small incremental changes, right? It reminds me of like when we were talking about our origin story in episode 7 and the weight loss journey that you went through when you lost that 92, 93 pounds in that first 9 months. Like, you went from eating fast food every single day to one time a week, right?
Yeah.
Once a week. You didn't completely cut it out. It was once a week, and you had that as an outlet, as a sanity thing, and you still lost that weight. Yeah, there came a time where it's like, okay, well, let's nix that fast food once a week and replace that with something else, right?
By that time, I was already in the habit, and it was easy of eating healthy food.
Yeah. So, and that's, again, so if you're having 2 candy bars a day right now, go to the 1 candy bar a day diet, right? And then when you get that and you're comfortable with that, go to 1 candy bar every other day, or whatever it looks like, 2 candy bars on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever it might be. But just making small incremental steps will help you, and that's the way you're going to succeed. It's not by these big, massive efforts. It's small, incremental things that seem like they're too effing easy for your brain to compute, that this couldn't possibly be the thing that I need to do. It's got to be more difficult than this. I promise you it doesn't. It doesn't need to be that difficult. It just needs to be consistent over a much longer time, which is why you want to make it a small, manageable, easily doable thing, and then just progress with it and get better with it over time.
Right.
So, because that's the way you're going to win this. So, anything to add to it?
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key. I would say consistency is king.
Yes.
Right? But key, king, consistency, whatever.
It's close.
It's close. So, but that's all we got, guys, for episode number 10, the 1 candy bar a day diet. Got you on that one. So, thank you, everybody, for listening. If anything in this episode benefited you, please share this. Tell others. That's all we're trying to do with this. This is a 100% labor of love. The lighting, the cameras, the MacBooks, the microphone, it's all come out of our own pockets. We don't make any money on this. We're just trying to grow. We want to take the stuff that we've learned, that we've lived, and we're trying to make this easier for you. We're trying to make this simpler and more effective for you to be healthier and happier and to pursue and achieve the goals that you're trying to do. So, again, thank you for listening. Find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, whatever you use. Subscribe to us, like us, share it, just all that good stuff. Help us grow, and we will continue to help you grow. So, tit for tat, quid pro quo. How about that? So, with that, we are out of here, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Holly?
Thanks for watching.
I love putting her on the spot. Thanks for watching, guys. We will catch you on the next episode. That is all we got.
Bye.
Later.